that she'd ever seen in law enforcement. And just recently, a vicious illegal alien criminal who was wanted for murder all over the planet, wanted. Everybody knew this person, not a good person, was discovered living as a fugitive right here in Las Vegas. Isn't that nice? We have no choice. Within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. No choice. We have no choice because this is not sustainable. It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. That's why they're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference. You know that. And I'm the victim of it, but that's okay. I'm the victim of it, and it's my great honor because you're finding out they're doing things to me that has never happened, and here I am, and we're leading in every poll. So just let's get there. Let's get there. The closer we do and the better we do, the more dramatic they become. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He is, for a lot of reasons. Number one, he's incompetent. That's a threat to democracy. You know, incompetence is a gross threat to democracy. But he is a real threat. What they're doing with elections and election interference, as an example, what they do with me. Look at yesterday. Look at all this crap that's going on. But we keep marching forward. We just keep going. And somehow it all works out. Somehow people say, how do you do it, sir? How do you do it? I get two questions. If you had it to do again, would you do it? Because, you know, in history, they say the president that was treated the worst was Abraham Lincoln, but he had the Civil War, you know, so he had a little Civil War going. Abraham Lincoln. And Jackson was treated very badly, and a couple of others were treated. Andrew Jackson, he was treated very badly, and a few others. And I haven't seen the new list, but if I'm not number one over Abraham Lincoln, I will be very disappointed because I don't believe any president's ever been. And they do that because their policies can't work. This is the only way they think they can win because we have strong borders. We have strong elections. We have to. If you don't have borders and elections, you don't have a country. And we have strong borders, and we're going to have very strong elections. So virtually every poll has us crushing Crooked Joe in the general election, defeating, well, you saw the ones that came out today. 1 at 6, 1 at 7, 1 at 8, and 1 at 11 in the swing states. Well, Nikki Haley, have you ever heard of her? I didn't know she was still campaigning. She's still campaigning? Oh, she was just endorsed by Liz Cheney. Can you believe it? If Liz Cheney ever endorsed me, I'd say, no, I don't want it. I don't want that. And there's a comparison graphic that they're going to put up on the screen, which is sort of interesting. But we're beating everybody. We're beating her by a lot, but we're beating Biden. She can't beat Biden. The polls are showing, the most recent polls, because she doesn't have Republican support. You know what she doesn't have? She doesn't have MAGA. She doesn't have MAGA. There's no MAGA. The radical left Democrats want Nikki Haley because they know she's the easiest person to beat, and she will. She doesn't have Republican support. Nikki Haley supports a 23% national sales tax, and she wants to gut Medicare and Social Security, raising the retirement age of Social Security to, think of this, about 77, about 10 years, 12 years. Anybody in their 60s or 70s, would you like to say, I'm just about there, darling? You're 62 years old. I'm just about there, darling, but I see Nikki Haley wants to make it 10 years longer. Despite being completely unelectable, and I believe she's unelectable, Nikki is she's got a continuing plan in a shameless radical left craziness because she's basically a Democrat. She's almost a radical left Democrat, which is hard to win elections like that, but it's like they use certain things as like a Trojan horse in the Republican primaries. Haley made a corrupt deal to sell out to the radical left, taking the Democrat money from donors and recruited all the votes. In the primaries that you just saw, she got killed in both of them. You had Iowa, You had New Hampshire. She got absolutely beaten badly. And she tried to cancel out Republicans, and she sort of did. She only got 25% of the Republican vote. In Iowa, where she came in a distant third. Remember, we have Ron DeSantis. Now, I've terminated that other name, right? They asked me. They said, what about the sanctimonious? I said, no, I put that into retirement, that name is. So now I call him Ron DeSantis. But Ron DeSantis came in second. He didn't come. She came in third, a distant third. And he got out, and then she went to New Hampshire, and she got slaughtered in New Hampshire, even though she had a lot of Democrats voting for her. Because in New Hampshire, they allowed Democrats and independents to vote. I said, this could be a little tough. And we still won by a lot. By a landslide, I guess. Sort of a landslide. And she didn't come to Nevada because they looked at a poll, and I was at 97%. She said, I think we're not going to win Nevada. And we have a caucus, and it's not really a traditional thing. It's a caucus. Caucuses can be very good. Caucuses, like Iowa was a caucus. It's very interesting. It's actually a lot more work, but it's a very interesting way to go. Trump Republican voters are going to defeat Nikki Haley's liberal Democrat donors every single time. I mean, her biggest donor is a radical left donor who will drop her right after this. But the donor is a big radical lefty, a slob. He's a slob. You take a look at him. He's a radical left donor who gave her a lot of money because they want to fight her. They want to be against her because they didn't do too well in 2016, and they got lucky as hell with all the theft in 2020. They got lucky as hell. They don't want to go through that again. So now they've weaponized. They hope that's going to be their new form of cheating, weaponizing. They want to weaponize the FBI, the DOJ. That's going to be their form of cheating. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. I am being indicted for you. Think of it. Al Capone. I got indicted 4 times. This was not in my books, you know. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach indictment 101. I got indicted 4 times. Al Capone, the meanest of all. Scarface. They used to call him Scarface. Alphonse Capone. Al Capone, the great gangster. He was indicted less than me. I wonder what my parents looking down saying, son, we're so proud of you. Never forget our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. Never, ever. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. That's what they want to do. That's the game they play. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in the way. Here I am. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Had a good time. You get indicted because, you know, one of the indictments, he fought the election. Yeah, the election was rigged. Of course you fight it. By the way, you still have them fighting the 2016 election. I think every Democrat congressman and senator fought the 2016. It's okay for them, but if we fight it, but we actually caught it. And it was rigged, and it was stolen. Did you see where Biden, 2 days ago, said, I want to see the real governor of Virginia? In other words, he said the election was rigged and stolen. Is he going to be indicted for that? What do you think, Robert? I don't think so, right? I don't think so. I don't think so. We're delighted to be joined today by a lot of people that are great leaders of your state. A man who's done a fantastic job as lieutenant governor, Stavros Anthony. Stavros, thank you very much. Thank you. Republican National Committee woman, Sigal Chetah. Sigal, sit up. Thank you, darling. Sigal. Clark County Chairman Jesse Law. Hi, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Will you make sure they don't cheat in Clark County? I'm putting you in charge. Because we had a lot of problems with Clark County last time. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it. Esmeralda County Chairwoman Teresa Barnes. Teresa? Thank you. Thank you. Teresa Barnes. State Senator Jeff Stone. Good guy, too. A good guy. Thank you, Jeff. Good job. Nevada Assembly members Richard MacArthur, Greg Hafen, Toby Yorick. Thank you, fellas. Got a lot of power in this room. We got a lot of power in this 100-degree room, don't we? You know, the fake news, sometimes it's 100, 110 degrees. Sometimes in some of these buildings weren't built for this, right? Crowds like this. And if I'm a little bit wet, they say, oh, he was sweating. He was sweating. I don't think there are too many people up here that wouldn't be sweating. Not too many people could speak the first paragraph. But you know what? It's great. And the people are getting very close to getting in now. I hope they haven't missed too much. U.S. Senate candidates, really good people. Ambassador Jeffrey Gunter. Jeffrey. These are three great candidates. Sam Brown and Amy, his fantastic wife. Sam Brown. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much. Great. It's going to be a very good race, and we'll see what happens, but it's going to be great. And Jim Marchant. Jim. Thank you, Jim, very much. Jesus Marquez is the American Christian Caucus leader. Jesus, thank you very much. And Wayne Allen Root, man, he's something. Wayne Allen Root, I think he's back there with the fake news. And a guy who I just happen to love. You know, he used to be a Democrat. I used to watch him on Sean Hannity as a Democrat. And somehow he flipped. I don't know if he's a Republican, actually. I'm not sure. I don't think he is. But he is a Trump guy. That I know. Leo 2.0, Leo Terrell. He's great. He's a great guy. Boy, I'd like to have him as my lawyer. I could use you. Do you want to get out of this television business, Leo? Former acting Attorney General of the United States, Matt Whitaker. Matt, thank you very much. And a warrior, Kash Patel, a warrior. He loves it. He loves war. And one of our big television stars, and you know who he is, he's been to a lot of rallies, and he had a tragedy this week. His son passed away. Fentanyl. And he is a fantastic person and a great television personality, but your boy is up there looking down on you. Rick Harrison, he's looking down on you, and he loves you, and he's proud of you. And it's not an easy deal, the fentanyl, so very special guy. One of the best developers you'll ever see. He's big, he's rich, but he's a high-quality man, builds some of the most beautiful things you'll ever look at. Robert Bigelow. Robert, please. Good-looking stuff. Thank you. And another tremendous businessman. He just sold his company for like $3 billion. He's very solid. He's very liquid. But he has done a fantastic job, and he loves this area. This is where he grew up. He was born here. He's built here. He's done a fantastic job. Don Ahern. Don Ahern. Don, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, we love you, too. You've done a hell of a job. So our top phone call volunteer, these are the people, Don, I have to introduce. This person made 114,000 phone calls. Rose Worrell. She's made like hundreds of thousands. Where is Rose? Right there, Rose. We love you. You're more important than these rich people, Rose. Thank you very much. And our top caucus captain, Marie Arena, who's done over 100,000, think of this, hundreds of thousands of calls, but she's got hundreds of friends coming to the caucus, and they'll be leading the caucus, and I want to thank you very much. She's been with me since 2015, if you can believe that, right? 2015. So I want to thank you both very much. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. And sign up to volunteer, and you get one of those beautiful caucus caps like we gave out. I noticed we gave them out in Iowa, everybody wanted those caps. I wanted one. I wore one all day long. Loved it. I like it better than any other cap I think I've ever had. From the very first day that we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden, I believe we're going to have the greatest 4 years in our country's history. I believe that. I believe that. Or I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing it. You know, if I wasn't running, or if I was in 4th place, 5th place, 7th place, we started off with 12. Sort of reminds me of 2016. We started off with 18, including me. And then week by week, boom, boom. It was like chopping down a tree. Boom, what a great feeling. Boom, boom, boom. We started off with 11. The first few fell off fast, and then they got a little bit tougher. Bum, bum, bum. And now we're down to 1, and she's not doing too well. She's in South Carolina, and I'm leading by 78 points. It's a lot. But I wouldn't do this. And, you know, if I didn't think we could do a great job, because we had among the greatest 4-year periods in the history of the presidency. You know, think of the things. We cut your taxes more than the Reagan tax cuts. #1 biggest tax cut, #1 biggest regulation cut in history, which is even, frankly, for the business people, more important. It employed so many. We had the greatest economy in history. We rebuilt our military. We defeated ISIS. Everybody said, you can't defeat ISIS. We came out with Right to Try. That's space-age medicines that can't be used for years because they're under... You know, I used to say, why don't we use these great medicines? Sir, we can't use them. People may get hurt. Well, no, these are people that are terminally ill. They didn't want to do it because the insurance companies had a problem, the labs had a problem, doctors had a problem, and the country had a problem. One of the people said, we don't want to get sued if they die, but they're going to die anyway. So I said, why? They've been trying to get this for 71 years approved. I got it's called Right to Try. And we have saved thousands and thousands of people with this, the right to use certain space-age medical. The medicines that they're using wouldn't be out for 5 or 6 years. And it's really turned out to be the opposite. Thousands of people are now living. Some of them are living, they were terminal, and now they're living perfectly. They don't even have to go back. I mean, it's gone, what they've done. And in the old days, which was 6 years ago, people would go, they'd go to Asia, they'd go to Europe, they'd go all over the world looking for a cure, and they'd usually come back home and die. Or if they didn't have money, they'd go home and die. Now, you sign a piece of paper, there's no liability to anybody. They give you these new drugs, pills, shots, whatever it might be. And many, many thousands of people are living now that would not be living. So we did so many things. Rebuilding our military was so great. Unfortunately, we gave 85 billion of it to Afghanistan because we had a bunch of not smart people running that operation. Under my leadership, virtually everyone was better off, including, very importantly, our cherished Hispanic American community. By the way, did you see the poll today? I'm leading in the Hispanic community. I'm leading. That's right. Right? It's the first time in the history of the poll, this particular one, where a Republican is leading with Hispanics. Wow. Look at over there. Look at over there and over. Look at all the people that couldn't get into this place. Wow. They didn't get in. They're screaming from outside with the same amount of enthusiasm. Thank you. That's amazing. You know what? That's like a poll. You know that, right? That's better than a poll. When you see crowds like this, and let's say somebody else came here, anybody, if you had 100 people, it would be a lot. We have thousands and thousands of people and thousands of people that can't get in, which is really very nice, and I appreciate it. We're gonna make our country great again. We're gonna make it great again. When I was your president, Hispanic Americans had the lowest unemployment rate in the history of these polls. You know, these polls have gone back a long way, but they never had numbers like you're having today. Today, the polls are beyond anyone. 6, 7 years ago, you had actual numbers, not polls. You had actual numbers where they were the best till that time. We're blowing them away, and we're blowing them away with African-American people who are the single most affected people by what's happening at our border. African American, number one, Hispanic American, number two. They are being horribly threatened because of what's happening, because millions of people are pouring in. And the real number is 18 million. You remember that. I said it earlier. It's because the fake news wants you to think it's bigger than New York State. Bigger than New York State. And that's affecting, I think, I have the highest African American numbers that anyone's seen. And I have the highest Hispanic numbers that anyone's seen. And if those polls are right, that means the Democrats are in big trouble. We better indict Trump a couple of more times. Just go ahead. They're going to indict me right into office. Crooked Joe Biden has devastated the Latino community. Biden's inflation disaster has crushed your household finances. I mean, what he's done to your finances are incredible. He's crushed your finances, and his open borders policy, they've demolished your wages. His inflation that he caused, it would have been so easy not to. All it was is energy. Remember this: gasoline, fuel, oil, natural gas went up to a level that it was impossible not. That's what caused inflation. And we're going to bring it down because we're going to go drill, baby, drill. We're drill, baby, drill. We're bringing it way down. And all communities, but again, Hispanic and African American, they've flooded. They've absolutely flooded. He's allowed this to come into our country, coming in from China, from all parts of the world, through the southern border. 4 years ago, they didn't have that. They had to go through hell. I remember I was negotiating the prices of machinery that would capture the scent of drugs. And we had great stuff. By the way, you know what the best machine is? A German Shepherd, a certain German Shepherd. There is no machine that is comparable to our dog. Is that I just thought I'd throw that out, but it's true. How do we get some more of those dogs? I like that better than spending $1 million for a machine that doesn't work as well. But it's true, the crime and all of the problems that have come in. And you got to remember, they could have stopped it, but the black community and the Hispanic community is affected more than anybody else by far. And so remember that when you go to the polls, and especially when you go in November. But on top of it all, Crooked Joe, and I call them thugs, they're persecuting Catholics. Anybody in here Catholic? Anybody? They are persecuting Catholics. I don't know how, I've never seen anything like it. The FBI, the DOJ is persecuting Catholics. And yet the Catholic vote, you know, with the evangelicals, I got 88%. With the Catholics, we got 50-50. It was a 50-50. I think that's going to change. Catholics, for whatever reason, are being persecuted by, you talk about weaponization, persecuted by Joe Biden's DOJ and FBI. So Catholics, will you remember that, please, in November? I'm sure it'll only get worse. Every disaster Joe Biden has created for Hispanic Americans, I will solve. I'll get it solved, and I'll get it solved and start the process on day one. On day one, we will start that process. That's why we're going to win the record share of Latino votes, the first time ever. We're going to get the record share. And we'll get the highest number of African American votes ever recorded. And I think pretty much everyone is agreeing on that. You know, Senator Tim Scott was on television yesterday, and he said Trump has done more for African Americans than any other president. Opportunity zones, I did that with him. Funding for the black colleges and universities, they had no funds. They would come to, I'll never forget it. The heads of the black colleges, universities, they would come in and they'd see me every year. I say, after 2 years, I said, what are you doing? They said, for many years, we come and see the president and we have to beg. He used that term, a great guy. A lot of really good people work hard. They came in and they need funds to keep their schools going. And then you have Harvard, you have all these other places with billions and billions of dollars, and they still get funds, which is pretty stupid, right? But they'd come in and they'd see me and they'd say, we need help. And after the third year, I said, what are you doing this for? And I got them long-term financing, more money than they asked for. And Tim Scott was relating that story today, and many other things, by the way. But you ought to look at opportunity zones. There's never been an economic development program, I think, that for Black Americans and Hispanic Americans, there's never been an economic program like that, opportunity zones. And nobody likes to talk about it, but it's one of the most successful economic development programs. And just to finish that off, I also happen to do a thing called criminal justice reform that Joe Biden didn't want, and a lot of people didn't want it, and a lot of liberal people and some conservatives. It's interesting, had a lot of conservative support and a lot of liberal support. Not a lot of support in the middle, but we got that done. So between those 3 or 4 things, nobody's ever done what I've done for the Black community. And Tim, I appreciate Tim saying it this morning on one of the fake shows. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll get it done fast. I know them both. And we will restore on this planet peace through earth. I am the only candidate who can make this promise to you. I will prevent World War III, and we're very close to World War III. We're very close to World War III. And on day one, I will end crooked Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate. They weren't working too well in Iowa. It was 40 degrees below zero, and you get into an electric car and you hear a buzzing. I said, what's that, sir? It works in zero, but you start getting below zero. And you had those cars all over the place. It would be a good time to take one. You could have taken one. You could have had all you wanted. But it wasn't, they were not working too well in Iowa. Think of that. We voted on a day where it was 40 below zero, and we had a tremendous vote. It was like, those people are hardy people. Somebody said they're very hardy. The people of Iowa are very hardy indeed. They voted in record numbers, and I will end his American energy war. It's a war on American energy. It's a war. Just yesterday, Biden blocked the export of American natural gas to other countries. You know, he doesn't want plants built in the United States, even though that's the best thing you could do. This stuff has been worked on for years. I approved many of them. We got many built in Louisiana and other places, but he stopped it. Now, why he stopped it, I guess it was the environmentalists, I guess. But it's good for the environment, not bad, and good for our country. I will approve the export terminals on my very first day back. I'm going to be signing so many different mandates on my first day back. All of that stuff will be approved. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out-of-control prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, in reverse enforcement of the law. And I'm also going to indemnify all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States to protect them from being destroyed by the radical left for taking strong action on crime. We don't want crime. These cities are crazy what's going on. Hundreds of people yesterday walked into a department store and just walked out with everything. They emptied the store. Now the store is going to close. 5 years ago, they were all pushing for this store to open. They opened. Now people are just walking in and robbing it. You can solve that in 1 hour. All you do is 1 hour. You have to treat the first one out the door of the next time it happens extremely tough. That means anything you want to do. And as soon as that word gets out and you let people know, from now on, you don't walk out with aspirin. You know, I have a building on 40 Wall Street, and we lost a big company, the big drug company where they sell drugs, drugstore. And I called the people. I said, what happened? He said, the people steal everything off the shelves. We have to build glass. They built glass containers on the shelves. They're still, this is not just New York, all over the place. It's like a new form of crime. They walk in, they just take a bag. In some of these places, they don't prosecute you unless it's more than $2,000. In other words, you can take $2,000, anything more than that. But even that, they won't do anything. Guys walk in with bags. They go like this. They push everything into the bag, and they walk out the store. And they actually had an employee that got into a fight with one of these guys, and the company fired the employee for doing that. What is wrong with our country? What's wrong with our patriotism? We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they've ever been before. And we will help them in crime because we're not going to let them be crime-ridden monsters. And we will take over our horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean it up, renovate it, rebuild our capital so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, which it was once before. You know, we didn't have the problem with, it's happened over the last couple of years, but 2 nights ago, 3 people were shot. They walked out, they come in from Nebraska, they come in from all over the country. 3 people are shot. They're just shot. They don't even know why, they're just shot. And people don't want to go there anymore. It's our capital. We will treat those people, when we catch them, we'll catch them rougher than any people have ever been treated. And it'll all stop. It'll all stop. It's got to stop. Nobody wants to go there. And we will take all of the graffiti off the marble, and we will clean up the roads and rebuild the roads, and we will put medians in that aren't falling down all over the asphalt. I went there about a month ago for one of the Biden trials. You know, I got so many trials. I said, which one is it, sir? That's number 14. That's what they're doing. I got so many trials. So I'm going in. I'm going to a federal courthouse, which is in bad shape, very bad shape. But going there, I'm riding over paper that's been laying on the roadway. These are the major roads into Washington, D.C. Paper that's been laying there for 6 months. Cans, garbage. I say, can you imagine the median, you know, the median, the metal crap that they have that's always, it's falling down before you even build the stuff. Somebody's a good lobbyist, but it's always falling down. I could ask Robert, what the hell is wrong with that stuff? You know exactly what I'm talking about. The day they put it up, it must be the sun, the heat, something. But it also gets hit, and it's laying out on the roads. And I'm saying, can you imagine you're the prime minister, you're the king, the queen of a country, you're the president of a country, and you're driving in, and you're driving over garbage to get to the White House or get to the Capitol, and you see roads that are in worse shape than most countries have, roads that have potholes all over them. You see graffiti all over the white marble columns. This is what's happening in our great Washington, D.C. We're going to take over Washington, D.C. We're going to federalize it. We're going to have the toughest law enforcement in the country. We're not going to have any more crime, and it's going to look beautiful. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. I'm not going to do it. And something I can't believe I have to say, but I guess I do, because who would have thought even 10 years ago this was necessary? Because there are politicians that think this is a wonderful policy because they're not smart people or there's something going on. I will keep men out of women's sports. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Weightlifting. You ever see the difference? Weightlifter. They broke the record by, I think, 142 pounds. The record stood for 18 years. They couldn't break it. A quarter of an ounce here, a quarter of an, they couldn't get it. This guy comes along. Have you ever lifted before? No, I haven't. Oh. He broke the record by like 142 pounds. I don't think that record will stand a long time. You know, if we ever get it straight, and we will, because I'm going to sign right away. But when that's straight, women are going to look back and they're going to say, who the hell was it that is 142 pounds more? So we're going to have to bring back those records, I think. What do you think? Yes? Yeah. Because those records aren't going to be broken within the next 100 years by the women. How about the swimmers, where you look at the swimmers, all these great swimmers, and all of a sudden, this woman against a guy who's he looks like he's got the wingspan of the great Wilt Chamberlain, right? And he jumps into that pool, and the young women left and right, they're badly injured by the wind as he goes by. They get windburn. I will fully uphold the Second Amendment, and I did a great job in doing that. I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency, which is a big thing because they'll take all your money. They'll take all of your money, Don, and you won't know what the hell happened to my money. Of course, the court systems here like to do that, too. They do it there. That's like communism, you know? It's sort of a, when you think it's like a communist move, but digital currency, what do you see? But we'll get rid of that. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, and I will secure the elections like never have been secured before. Because if we don't have fair and honest elections, and if we don't have border security, if we don't have strong borders and strong elections, we don't have a country. We don't have a country. And remember when I used to talk about the wall? I built this tremendous amount of wall. That's why we had the best record. But they used to say, walls, we don't need walls. We need things flying up in the air. No, you need walls. Because there's only two things in history that work long term. Everything else is obsolete. You do a new computer, it's obsolete in like 3 days. Walls and wheels. You always have walls and wheels. A wall has worked for a long time. Our goal will be one day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. But until then, Republicans, you have to win, Republicans. Go out and win. When we get in there, we're changing it around. We're going to get rid of all the stuff. Paper ballots, they make special paper today. It's incredible. It sounds crazy, but it's incredible. Watermark. And it's good. And some governors are doing it. Some of the Republican governors have actually already started it. And number one, you're going to save a hell of a lot of money. It's about 9% the cost of doing it the other way. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. He's destroying our country. So if you want to save America, then get everyone you know out to vote in the Nevada caucuses on Thursday, February 8th. And it's very important for you to help educate all of our supporters that we're not talking about the government-run, universal mail-in ballots. We don't want mail-in ballots. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't go on Tuesday, February 6th. That's 2 days earlier. Don't do it. Don't use a mail-in ballot. Don't do anything. It's a meaningless event. Totally. There are no delegates. It's a con job. We could have done it, but we really wanted to do it the right way and the legitimate way. And so don't do the 6th, do the 8th. Do the caucus, not the primary. The primary is meaningless. I don't know, maybe they'll try and use it for public relations purposes. Every time Trump supporters, and they need something, they have to go. What you have to do is caucus on February 8th. It's the only way you can vote for President Trump. So caucus on February 8th. And if you need any details, February 8th. If you have any details or need anything, it's nv.DonaldJTrump. Did you ever hear of him? .com. Okay? So in conclusion, when we leave this 109-degree room, from Henderson to Minden, from Elko to Reno, and from Carson City to right here in Las Vegas, we stand on the shoulders of Nevada patriots who crossed the ocean, settled a continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up those great skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, and lit up the most beautiful lights anyone's ever seen right here on the Las Vegas Strip. Together they built America into the single greatest country anywhere in the world. But now we're a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has quite simply lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers. We will expel them. We're going to drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. And we will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House on Election Day 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before. And under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nevada. Thank you. Get out and vote. God bless you.